Okay, so now we're going to move on to back, and this is an intro to back video. Just a couple common mistakes that I see people make when they're trying to train the back area. The first common mistake that I see people make is using their wrist instead of pulling with the elbow. Remember, anytime you're doing a back movement, whether you're rowing, okay, rowing like this, or you're doing an overhead pull down, which is your basic two movements, we're going to do variations of those two movements for back. What ends up happening is a lot of people will turn their wrist towards them when they pull, and they'll bring their forearms and other muscles into the movement. Remember, focus on always keeping those wrists nice and straight and driving with the back of your elbow. That's going to be your focus point. So don't turn those wrists in, keep them straight and drive with those elbows. That will help isolate your back muscles. Now, the other mistake that I see people make is when they're rowing, when you're doing some type of row, and as an example, whether we're doing a seated or standing row or we're bent over, a lot of people, what they'll do is instead of driving their elbows to the ceiling like this is the right way to do it. What they'll do is they'll bring their wrist up like this, and they end up pulling their biceps into the movement. Now naturally, no matter what you do, you're going to feel some of your biceps working whenever you do back. It's the secondary muscle group that's going to come into play whenever you're training back. But whenever you're rowing, any type of row, you want to make sure that you have a motion that's kind of like you're sawing a log with a saw in your hand and driving the elbows towards the ceiling and keeping a 90-degree angle right here rather than pulling up like this, which I see a lot of people do. So there's an intro to back. Now let's move on to the back exercises.